So our next and final session for the day is our guest entrepreneur interview. The wonderful Amanda DeLosa will be taking us through and interviewing those lovely guests that we've got coming up. So Amanda DeLosa is a brand strategist who is incredible. She's been at the forefront of helping entrepreneurs become household names for at least the last 13 years or more. Since 2013, she was recognized as a rising star of the federal government media team. And Amanda is actually one of the most sought after brand strategists in Australia. So glad to have her in the room and taking us through this next section. She works with ASX-listed companies and she represents AFR Young Rich Listers as well as top 100 entrepreneurs in helping them craft a really good brand strategy and a good brand story. Amanda will be interviewing Dr. Mei Chan and Dr. Reuben Sim, who are the co-founders of Dental Boutique. Has anyone in this room heard of Dental Boutique? I have. Amazing. Yeah, plenty of you in here. This is awesome. So they are the celebrated co-founders. It's a very high growth company and it has been growing at a very fast rate for over 10 years. And I'm very keen to hear how you've done that for so long. They've been praised by Business News Australia for the success that they have achieved, which most ASX-listed companies would be extremely envious of achieving. Under their leadership, the business has now expanded into 6 different locations, including Geelong, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, Mornington, and my home city, Sydney. They currently employ 143 full-time staff and another 45 part-time staff. That is a huge workforce. I look forward to hearing how you manage all of that. And most impressively, they recently clinched not once, not twice, but 3 times the accolade for Young Entrepreneur of the Year for Melbourne. So amazing work to both of you. Please make them feel very welcome. Amanda, Mei, and Reuben.
Hi, my name is Dr. Reuben.
And I'm Dr. Mei.
When we first started, the vision of the practice has been very clear from day one, where we want to provide this exceptional experience that we felt that any other practices have fallen short on.
My missus, we've been engaged for like 4 years. That's another reason why we haven't got married too, because I want to smile at my wedding. You make me so emotional. I waited for this day for so long.
What I find most rewarding in my entire time here at Dental Boutique is that we have been able to change people's lives through changing smiles. And as cliche as it sounds, it holds so true in this practice.
It's been so many years I haven't smiled. This has unfortunately held me back.
Wow.
I know, Paul.
You're gonna make me cry.
Wow. You actually smile.
Oh my god, I'm so emotional. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
Got a beautiful little girl. She said to me as well, Mummy, you're gonna smile more now. You look cool, yeah?
So this is the reason why we decided to start up Dental Boutique in 2013, to help to create an exceptional experience where patients get to experience the best that dentistry has to offer.
I remember watching these testimonial videos. It would have been a couple of years ago, and I think my whole entire office were all in tears watching them. They are so beautifully, emotively captured, and I know someone before was just talking about, capturing those case studies and testimonials, and I think these guys are the gold standard of, how you, particularly in a service-based business, capture those incredible before and after results. So well done with those. Mei, I'm going to start with you. So your personal experience, I guess the why behind why you've started the business was from a childhood experience. I won't tell your story, but would you like to give us a little bit of a background on that?
Love to. So as I was growing up, when I was 9, I fell and I had a traumatic fall and hit my 2 front teeth. So growing up, I had really dark discolored tooth and very crooked teeth because of the experience. And it actually changed myself as a person. When I was growing up, I was always so self-conscious about my smile. I would cover my mouth, I wouldn't socialize. I would never smile in photos. I don't look like a happy child at all. I mean, in fact, I wasn't really happy. I don't feel like I could be the full best version of myself because I couldn't smile. And it made me become a really reserved individual and a really reserved child as well growing up. So I really lacked the confidence and self-esteem. So as I grew up, that's what kind of inspired me to want to become a dentist, and I want to explore what the possibilities are in terms of what we can do to fix that, because that really affected myself.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. So you knew when you were a little girl that you wanted to do exactly what you're doing today, and you followed that path to a T. That's awesome. And so Reuben, the expansion, as Andy read out before in your bio, you guys have had some incredible growth over the last 10 years. And even in the 2 years since I've known you, I remember you were opening the Adelaide clinic when we first met, and since then there's been 4 or 5 more. So I remember at the time when I was talking to you guys about this 2 years ago, you said the reason you were opening up other clinics is because you literally had people getting on aeroplanes and flying interstate to come and see you guys for treatment. So do you want to explain a little bit more about how that's influenced your rollout strategy?
Absolutely. So when we first started Dental Boutique, the vision was to create the best sort of outcome for our patients in terms of not just from a clinical perspective, but also from a customer service perspective. And that's our ethos from day one. And we found that during the first 5 to 6 years, we were laying the foundations right, where we were growing from a single chair to a 4-chair practice. And that was the idea where, you know what, just go on and just do the best you can. But what happened organically is that as we go through the day-to-day motion of providing the best sort of service that we can possibly give, is that patients starting to come down to see us. And one of the key factors that we decided to expand was that we were working, I would say, 12, 15 hours a day. And then we started thinking about how can we touch more lives without killing ourselves, right? How can we actually reach more people and get out there and get in front of people, because we know what we do, and what we do is actually really good. Not just us, but the team of our clinicians at that time. And that's when we started to lay protocols and systems. And we decided, you know what, let's go and reach and get to the states where our clients are actually coming from. And that's why we started in Sydney and Brisbane and Adelaide. That's where the main patients are coming from. We've got patients from Auckland and Singapore and Malaysia that came down as well. And hence, I would say in the next 8 weeks, we're actually opening Auckland as well. So we're just going to where patients were coming to see us, and that's where our outreach would be.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a really good strategy, other than sort of throwing a dart at a map and sort of figuring it out from there. Everyone in the room here loves hearing about marketing tips and hacks and things that are really practical that can be obviously rolled out in their own businesses to obviously help generate more leads and find more customers. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time on marketing, if that's okay. And either of you feel free to jump in and sort of take the lead with these. But first of all, I wanted to sort of get a bit of a rundown of your marketing funnel. Like, how are you originally, getting people into the awareness stage of the funnel to generate those leads?
Sure. Okay. So,
From originally.
Yeah. You can.
I think we're just thinking originally how we started was actually we decided to open our own boutique. Like, that's why it's called Dental Boutique. It's meant to be, like a small little place, and it's a 1-chair practice. We had a 20-year-old donated chair. And, we had no marketing budget. We just decided, look, this is what we want to do, because we traveled the world. We've looked at, worked with really amazing mentors, and we sort of thought, okay, this is what we want to create. And this is an experience that no one else has created, and we really want to do it ourselves. So when we did that, and we started 10 years ago, it was a 20-year-old dental chair, 1 room. I was working by myself, 1 staff member, and Reuben was basically working somewhere else to try and fund the practice, because we had no funds for marketing, had nothing. So what we started with back then was actually printing up flyers, and we walk around the neighborhood. So we introduced ourselves and this is who we are, this is what we do. We introduce ourselves to the businesses, and from there we start to gather some word of mouth. And I still remember when we first had our first patient, we wanted to pop a champagne, we didn't, because we were like, let's save it for later. But that's what we did, so 1 patient at a time. And from there, it was mainly word of mouth that really grew our little practice. And it went from 1 chair to 2 chair, 2 chair to 3 chair, 3 chair to 4 chair. And that was in the first 4 years. So it was really tough. but we tried our best. And as soon as we start to collate some a bit more profit, then we can actually put that into marketing a little bit more. And what we do was we started with, do you want to maybe share about the marketing strategy?
So with the marketing strategy at the moment is that, I mean, it has been a continuous evolution, right? Marketing is never stagnant. Like what you've learned today, you've used AI, you've used all these additional tools as you go along. So what is relevant 10 years ago may not be relevant to what we do now. But the concept of marketing is still where it is still universal throughout. So first of all, what we did was we want to ensure that we've got brand awareness. And when it comes to brand awareness, what it truly means is that whenever a patient comes and see, I mean, for us to be clients and patients come and see us, they're not looking for a particular person or surgeon because all of them are amazing clinicians. But we want to make sure that everyone that comes into Dental Boutique would actually know that when they come in, they're getting the same service, the same outcome, and the same sort of respect that they deserve. So, and that's how what we did was from a branding perspective, getting our organic content out there. Like for example, the testimonials that we have. Look, these are not testimonials per se. We don't, because in dentistry and healthcare, we got to be very careful with what we put out there as well, because there are rules and regulations against certain sort of testimonials. So we need to make sure that when we put things out, it has to be following the regulations, the guidelines. But at the same time, being able to bring our message out there, and our message is about the emotions, about the feeling. It's not about the product. A lot of clinicians or even anyone who sells a product would be selling the advantages of the product or how good I am as a person or look at my technology and look at this, look at my brand new place. People don't, like for me personally, people I feel don't resonate with that. They resonate with what the outcome is and the emotions that I get from the product or the service that we provide. Hence, therefore, from an organic perspective, from branding perspective, that's what we did. Now, once you've got a branding on top and sort of ticked off, the next part of the funnel would be to then outreach these patients to actually give us a call, right? And that's when social ads will come in, Instagram ads will come in, and that's where we get patients to call and get interested in us and believing in the brand, because that's really ticked off. And from then on, of course, I mean, in the last 10 years, things has evolved, and we've got a call center as well. So that way we can actually vet out patients who actually really need our help and patients who may need help elsewhere as well. And that's how we sort of have a funnel from a brand to outreach to getting them calling, and from them calling in, whether we are getting the right type of patients in as well. Just because we want to make sure that we can help them and not waste their time if they do come in, because we do sort of a triage call.
Yeah, that's really interesting, like in terms of the evolution of, you know, the marketing activities you've had over the last 10 years. So to wrap quickly on that, would have been, you know, the grassroots campaigning, the letterbox drops. Not many people do that anymore. I was talking to Matt Bell the other night. His strategy was radio advertising in the early days of his business, which blew everything up for him from there as well. So we've seen such a change, and there's like, those things still exist. And then we've got all of these new things laid and added on. So I guess what you guys have done really well is, you know, you've played to your strengths and what you can afford to do at the time, which we all do in that startup space. And you've made sure to reinvest those funds as you've gone on into bigger things like branding strategy and then paid advertising right through to outbound calls to help, you know, generate more leads as well. So I think that's a really good example of how you can actually step through as you grow. So thanks for that. That was really helpful. Just out of curiosity, how many people in the room have got a health or allied health business? By show of hands. And do we have any dentists? No dentists in the room. just good to know for these guys. So talking about, we've already touched a bit on the case studies and the testimonial videos. Obviously, they are a really big core part of your marketing funnel and I guess your content creation. We know that content creation and getting stuff together and being on social media and like all of the things that you have to show up on in order to run a business these days can be quite overwhelming. So what is your approach to content creation for social media, and how do you balance like the promotional content with the engaging, value-driven, emotional stuff that you were talking about before?
So I think with content, I think from what we believe, like what Reuben has mentioned a little bit, is that it has to be patient-driven. So you've got to really understand what is the pain point that your patient are going through, or for us patients, for you, for some of us clients. So what our clients sort of are going through, what's their pain point? How do we speak to them in a way where they will take the next step and then take the next action? So it's about how do we inspire them to take the next action. So the content has to come from having them in mind. And, with a lot of our videos that we create, for example, patients are feeling, like they are fearful, they are feeling like, they could be judged. So we want to really show that, look, come in, you're not alone. Many people go through the same thing, and it is a safe environment. So how do we portray that? So that's also evolved over the years in terms of we'll create a few sort of content, we'll test it, we'll see which one engages better, and then we'll sort of promote more and more of those.
Yeah, I would say having the avatar in mind is really important. What I mean by that is to really understand the underlying decisions that patients would make for them to buy a product or for them to engage your services, right? What are their actual pain points, and on top of that, what you want your clients to feel if they engage with your product and services. And that's how you want to sort of outreach to them. That's what we did, how we actually reach out to them and show that, hey, if you do this, this is something that you could experience, and this is something that we could actually provide for.
Going back to when you first started creating content though, how did you guys approach it? Did you outsource it straight away? Did you have a team? Do you remember the first time you actually, because for a lot of people here, it might be the first time that they're actually feeling motivated from being here for the last 2 days to go away and finally get on top of those case studies and testimonials. So what would be some of the tips for them to be able to go away and have success in capturing that from their customers?
Sure. So that was probably fast, going backwards about 6 years ago when we started to have a bit more funds for marketing. And the first investment we actually made was to hire our very first marketing coordinator. And from there, she was a 21-year-old fresh marketing graduate. We interviewed a few people and we liked her. So she came in, and presented something amazing. She sort of went around and said, okay, right, these are what your competitors are doing. This is what you're doing. I can see that you're doing amazing work, but you're not really, doing this in terms of, what else you could do and that your competitors are doing. So that was our first investment. And from when she came in, so when she sort of looked at everything and she looked at what we do within our clinic, and she realized that, the emotions that our patients go through at the end of their smile transformation is incredible. Patients were crying, patients are hugging the dentist, they are jumping around, they're just so happy. So that was the first content creation that we created with her, is that she actually took videos of that real raw moments when the first reveal happens, because the patient could not believe that this is what could happen, and because they're so fearful, they're judged. A lot of our patients hasn't been to a dentist for more than 10 years, and they never could imagine that this day would come. So that is real raw emotions that we experience every day. And she captures that, she put them on Instagram at that time. It was, a growing platform. And that's how we gain a lot of organic followers.
So I would say, while we capture this content, we need to think of a process and a system to get the content as well. Because not everyone would want their faces to be up on Instagram as well, right? So we've got to make sure that as we try to get this content out there, prior to the getting content, there needs to be a conversation with our clients and sort of word track them in a sense, inspiring them to be, you know what, I'll love to be there. You know what, I'll love to help people out there because they don't know the experience I'm going through, and I want people to feel the same experience I'm going through. So you need to try and inspire your clients to say yes to actually getting that captured as well. I think that's one of the key things that I learned, is that getting that excitement and inspiring the people to actually do it. Fast forward. This marketing young lady that joined us 21 years old. She's 29 years old now, and she's now our general manager at Dental Boutique. So she's stuck with us. Our first 4 employees. One was our nurse, and the other one was our front office lady and our practice manager. They're all still with us at different roles in the company. So I think it's just nice seeing people grow in a roles from a 21-year-old to a 29, 30-year-old lady, right? And we just want to empower the team to actually really take that step. Because we started with nothing as well. We started with not knowing what to do. And as you grow together, I think that's something magical with that when you've got a team like that.
You've just created the best segue for me into talking about your team building, because that's something that I've observed from you guys over the 2 years I've been following you, is some of the cool initiatives and team bonding experiences and different like fun things that you do with your team. So with 200 staff and 100 dentists across various locations, how do you keep that consistent quality and company culture across the board?
Absolutely. Maybe I'll talk from the clinician point of view. And yep. So from a clinician point of view, the main thing with clinicians out there is that a lot of times, and I think it's going to be relevant for a lot of other industries as well, because a lot of us work in little cubicles and as business owners, and we do our own we provide services for clients. We work in small cubicles, we work with a few people, and you go home, right? But you don't have that interaction. And if you do remember some of us who's gone to school, high school and university, guess what? Guess what's exciting during that time? It's your bonding sessions with your mates. You go out for dinner, drinks, you hang around with them. And that's what we wanted to try to create in our group, where our clinicians, when they first start joining the team, we would have a 2-week induction program. And it doesn't matter whether they are 2 years out of uni or 20 years out of university, they need to go through that program so that, number one, they know the culture they know our culture, they know our vision and plans, they understand what it means to be part of Team Dental Boutique. Okay, so the 2-week program is so crucial because it sets everything in stone, and everyone speaks the same language among the clinicians. On top of that initiative, we've got a mentoring process as well. Again, it doesn't matter how many years they've been out of uni, they would be attached to a senior clinician for, like senior, when I say senior, it just means that they've been with us a bit longer. Doesn't mean the senior for age perspective or out of uni. So the ones that have been with us a bit longer, they can show the ropes to the junior clinicians, what it is like working on a day-to-day basis, and they would do that for another 1 or 2 weeks. So our induction, it takes about 2 to 4 weeks before they even go and start seeing patients. And that's one. And the other thing as well, we actually have symposiums for our clinicians where we would actually get, on a yearly basis, gather all of them, we fly them down to a location. In fact, we're doing another one in March in Sydney, so we're actually in the midst of planning it. A symposium where we get speakers coming in, we've got activities, we've got all the bonding sessions, and what they look out for is always, I'm going to see my mate in Adelaide, and I'm going to touch with my friend in Sydney again. And that forms that relationship among team members. I mean, I could go on about relationships because when you've got a group of clinicians, what it also means is that you're holding everyone at a higher standard. Okay, so a lot of times being a service provider, if you're alone, you're in your own room or you've got a small group, you do things and you go home. But if you know you've got a team of clinicians that look at your work and excited about what your outcome is, you want to show that you're always doing the best you can be and always try to improve yourself. And I think that sort of the positive reinforcement has kept our clinicians. So just at the last point, I mean, in the last 10 years, we've lost 3 clinicians in the last 10 years out of the entire group. So I believe that our retention is actually really high. And because we provide all this.
So that's the dentist side of things. But in terms of the culture side, like team culture, that's really one thing that really shaped, I think, our culture about 4 years into our business is that we really sat down and think about employees that we really enjoy working with, employees that we don't enjoy working with. And then we sort of look at what are the qualities these employees have and what are the qualities these employees have or don't have. And we decided, okay, this is how we came up with our values, our company values and the core values. And, we came down to, initially we had 5 and we narrowed down to 3 because it's a lot easier for everyone to remember. And one of the main thing was positivity and happiness. So we wanted to create a place where employees would come in, dentists would come in, patients would come in, and they would feel like the place is a happy and positive environment. So that's one thing that we're very big on, and we all, when they first come in, any employee that joins the business, they will go through a 1-day culture day with our culture. We call her the culture queen. She's been with us for 5 years now. She is the culture queen. She keeps everyone happy in the practice. And she will go through with them what it means to be as a part of Dental Boutique. And what does it look like? What does it feel like? What do we do for our patients? What do we not do for our patients? And we hold the entire team accountable. So if someone drops the ball, the rest of the team will try and hold the other person accountable. So positivity and happiness is something that we are really strong on and really make sure our team got values in a way. And the other one is going above and beyond. So they don't just do what is average. They always go above and beyond what it takes to wow the patient. So that's another value that our team live by. And the last one is to excel with passion and care. So they have to care. They have to have passion in the work that they do. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. Because with such a big team, when it's small, you could still try and hold a standard. Between me and Reuben, if there's 5 team members, we could make up the difference if someone else isn't going above and beyond. With a team of 200 plus 100 dentists, if someone's not going above and beyond, and not excelling with passion and care, it actually seeps through very quickly. You're going to get a lot of patient complaints. You're not going to be able to wow the patients. So for us, it's really important that from top down and throughout the company, everyone is holding that value, highly. So once a year, we do culture days where twice a year, we do culture days where the entire organization will get together and we would actually remind them about what it means to live those values.
That's awesome.
In fact, our next culture day is tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So in the midst of preparing it, so right after this, we're going to quickly nut down and prepare the stuff for tomorrow.
What kind of things happen at culture day?
A lot of things. So team bonding activities, relationship activities, thankfulness and mindfulness activities, group activities. So it's just getting the group and team together and reminding them about the vision, mission of Dental Boutique and the purpose of them being there. And everyone's equally important.
So there are games and there are some lecture and teaching as well. So we try and include a little bit of everything.
Yep, sounds great. So going back to relationships, let's talk about your relationship. And in the room, how many, just by a show of hands, husband and wife, partners in business? Woo. There we go. Quite a few. So balancing being husband and wife, co-founder CEOs, parents, what's that like for you guys? What are some of your sort of go-tos making it work?
Well, it's hectic, I think. I think all parents and running a business and having kids, I think it doesn't come easy, let's put it this way. I think there's a lot of organizational things that you need to have and very, very a mind that's structured. And the main thing that what we find is that we shouldn't be shy of asking for help or seeking help, right? And when I say seeking help is, for example, when you're busy, you might want to look for a nanny, right, involved. You might want to have a PA involved as well. But at the same time, structuring and having exceptions. Like, for example, our weekends are holy weekends, right? It's family weekends, no calls from staff, nothing like that. It's just family time on a Saturday and Sunday. But when it's Monday to Friday, when we're working hard, we work really hard. So having that structured involved.
Yeah. And May and I were talking about this at dinner on Tuesday night, and I've spoken with some other mums in the room here over the last couple of days as well, around getting help as a mother in business. There is still a lot of judgment around should we be in business, running our businesses and not looking after our children. And the role of the nanny really is to do those monotonous things like the nappy changing and the daily feeding. Yeah, all this sort of stuff. Like the stuff that definitely doesn't light people like us up on the daily. We wouldn't be entrepreneurs. So do you want us to tell me a little bit about that and how you felt with that and what the sort of experience has been for you around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my older one is 9 years old, 9 plus. And when we first started, which was 10 years ago, we fell pregnant. It was a surprise, so it wasn't planned. And so, it was hard to juggle because like we said, in the beginning, we had no funds at all. So the baby had to literally sleep upstairs and, and it wasn't easy. So I think, we sort of got a lot of help at that time from family. So to try and babysit as much as possible. We didn't get to see him a lot. But when it came to my second child, I think, that's when we are like, right, we really want to spend more time with the child, but actually not doing the chores that we don't enjoy. So we really look at, what is valuable. And I think back when I was a child, what was memorable was when my parents played with me. Not when they were, trying to clean the house or when they're trying to do something else. And, that really sort of, we really thought about it and we decided, and Reuben's always been very supportive in this as well, which is great because I think as a mum, I enjoy being a mum, but I don't enjoy as much as some of my peers going to play dates or, you know, like going to, you know, like, or, you know, the little feeding tasks and things like that. And I know friends of mine that truly enjoy being a mum and being able to be there for every step of, you know, their way. But, you know, it doesn't fulfill me as much as I would like. And, you know, for me, I find a lot of fulfillment in still growing myself and, you know, being able to be in my career. And therefore, you know, it's something that quite early on, sort of, you know, with Reuben's support, and he's very supportive in this journey of mine as well, is that I get to do what I love, but still go home to my kids and feeling happy and fulfilled.
Suppose it's just creating magical moments with the kids, like what May alluded before. It's your children won't remember you doing your laundry, folding your nappy, and cleaning the toilets, right? They remember you playing, spending time with them, chatting with them, sitting next to them, and just talking to them. And if I can get rid of the stuff that my kids won't remember ever, and things that we don't like doing anyway, that's how we sort of hack. It's a bit of a time hack, right? Relationship hack where we, you know what, do things that we enjoy that create memories for our kids. And that's what we do.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right? Happy parents, happy kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And we know Jack is a huge fan of outsourcing anything under your pay rate anyway. So if you guys are working out how much you're all worth per hour, a nanny sits in around $30 to $40 an hour. So that's something to consider. House cleaning, pretty much everything else that sort of sits under your pay rate is always a good thing to outsource. So it does give you more time to do the things that light you up and spend time with your family and loved ones. So that's really cool. All right, last question to wrap. I want to know from each of you what aspect of running Dental Boutique brings you the most personal satisfaction and why?
For me, it's actually seeing the team. Like I'm really big on culture and the team and the team we have, and hence therefore growing my team members from where they are right now to where they should be and can be has been a passion of mine. And we find that a lot of our team members have been with us for like 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And that's the reason why is because we always want to grow them, and seeing them just flourishing from a 21-year-old young lady to where she is now, holding her own, having a child, looking after the family, and having a career of her own. That excites me. We've seen clinicians who have been amazing, talented clinicians where they were working at places where the principals could be, you know what, taking away productive work from them because they are the principals. And they're struggling to flourish and grow as a clinician. Now, them coming on board and seeing them do the things that they love, that they enjoy, and them growing a career gives me so immense joy. I think that's part of Dental Boutique is the family in the team. And we spend, 8 to 10 hours with them every single day. And sometimes you spend more time with them than my kids, right, on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that they are looked after, they're happy. And when we're happy, everything goes well.
And I think to add on as well, it's the lives that we get to change. I think so far we changed about more than 30,000 lives. And between the two of us, we wouldn't have been able to do that, 10 years ago. But now today, across every location, we've managed to touch 30,000 and hopefully, many more to come.
Do you have an actual goal? Like, have you actually sat down and gone North Star, like this many smile transformations?
I think no, because I think if we wanted today, with the demand that we do have and we can continue to funnel that through, we could grow a lot faster than if we really wanted to. But I think we want to grow in a sustainable way in terms of we're still maintaining the quality. So it really is down to, what we can control, and making sure that that's the core value is never missed.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure everyone got a lot out of what you guys had to say. Let's give these guys some love. 3, 2, 1. Awesome clapping.